congratulations on the film. I've sat down and watched it, and I've got to say it is an absolutely fantastic film. So congratulations.
Thanks, Dave. We had a lot of fun with it.
So where did the idea come from in the first place for you for this film?
I was always a big fan of the movie once, and I wanted to try and do something in the same vein, ish, just with music. And then, I don't know, I always, friends who had kids, you'd sometimes be with them and you'd see Yo Gabba Gabba, and you'd be like, man, you wonder what the life is like for some of those actors and performers. Are they happy? Are they pursuing their dreams? And then as a filmmaker and everything, trying to pursue one's own dream, it's a challenge, and you wrestle with those things about, do you take a job that's soul-sucking but you get paid, or do you pursue your art? So it's a fine line.
I've always wondered that about one of Australia's biggest musical export, the Wiggles, because I don't know if you realise, but before the Wiggles became the Wiggles, they were actually a punk band in the 80s called the Cockroaches. Yeah, and it's people that are into Australian music that know that, but I've always wondered, when they started off with the Cockroaches, did they think that in 20 years' time they would be singing songs like Hot Potato, Hot Potato?
Probably not.
But when you were doing research for the film, did you actually sit down and talk to anybody that's actually done that kind of thing, where they've started off as a musician and then gone into doing children's music or children's shows?
I can't say that I have. It just didn't stumble upon me to do any research in that area. I just reached out to Jason and Corey of Maids of State, and they did some music on a short film I once did. And I said, what do you think about this idea? And they liked it, and I basically moved to Connecticut shortly thereafter.
So what was the writing process like for you with the film? Like, did you have to try and work out the music and stuff first, or were you able to sit down and actually flesh out a screenplay before that side of things came about?
Great question. I wrote the screenplay first, and in place of where the lyrics were, there was just like a sentence or two of like, this is what the song's going to be about, this kind of music, and I sent the script to the band and a few others, and everyone said, well, we need the lyrics. And I'm like, okay, well, I'll do that next. And never really did the lyrics before. I offered it to Mates of State, and they said for me to do it. And I filled out the lyrics, and then sent them to them, and then they started slowly doing the music, and they would rewrite some of the lyrics, and I would give some notes on the music. And the funniest thing was, though, going into production, we didn't have the villain song written, the one with Arian Moayed and Vanessa Ray. And I don't know, maybe a week or so into production, we're like, well, we got to get this done. And so I wrote up the lyrics, and then Jason and Corey were like, how do you want the music? And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is it. And I kind of pulled out a recorder, and I performed the song for them, regretfully so, for that audio has come back to haunt me, for they remixed it and made fun of me left and right. But it's one of my favorite numbers in the movie, so fantastic.
Was it difficult to write the lyrics? Because I know lyric writing is very different to screenwriting, and also this is different again, because you've kind of got to make the songs a little bit different to what you would normally hear a band like Bon Jovi or someone playing. Right.
It was definitely a challenge, There was definitely some lines that Jason and Corey looked at and say, nope, we are not singing that. True story. And so, they're more poetic. They are lyricists, and they took some lines and took the meaning out of what I was going for and made it sound a little bit prettier at times, and we just kind of like worked together back and forth. But definitely a challenge, and now I'm trying something new, and I'm trying a stage play for the first time and writing a musical, and I'm going to do the music and the lyrics since I have a little bit more experience now.
Awesome. And tell us about your leads as well with the cast, because that is really what makes this movie work so well. Tell us a little bit about how you brought everybody together for this film.
Cool, yeah. So Jason and Corey, I just reached out to them over lunch one day, and they said they were in. And they went and we got them some acting lessons in Connecticut. And then once I was on the ground in Connecticut, we all worked together, and that was a really nice process. Josh Brener, younger brother, who plays Richie. It was lots of threats and blackmails of old photos and audio and video that were going to go on the web if he didn't do the part, and he agreed. And then myself and Arian and Vanessa are all represented at the Gersh agency, and the Gersh office was very, very helpful in saying, like, here's who we think would be some awesome people for your movie. And we looked at Vanessa's stuff and Arian's stuff, and they were just fantastic, and they did a great job.
Was it a fun shoot? It feels like the kind of movie that would have been a lot of fun to have been on the set of. Did you find it a fun shoot?
We had a lot of laughs, especially that scene where the Rumperbutts were being fired, and there was the bongs and the penetration and all that stuff, and there was a lot of tears of joy and laughter on set that day, and throughout. And it was funny. We also had it was kind of chaotic set at times as well, because the Metro North stopped running from New York to Connecticut to certain stops, so we had a great production team, and they figured out ways to get PAs and everything to certain stops when the people could come in. But overall, it was a great crew. This woman named Ellen Vanderwyden, she lived in Connecticut, and she put together this amazing crew, and lots of laughs.
So when you're filming a film like this and you're doing a scene and you feel that the comedy is not working in a certain scene, do you sit down and do a rewrite right there on the spot, or how does that work? I know that comedy is so different to other genres when it comes to things like that.
Yeah, there were. I remember, as you asked that question, there were 2 times on set where, one, I was trying to get a joke to work, and it just wasn't working. And we kept trying a few different things just on the spot. Like, I remember we tried it before lunch, and then during lunch I wrote up a few alternate lines, and we came back and just none of it worked, so we said, all right, moving on, we're just not going to use it. And then there was one other time just a scene just was not working, and we ran it through like a rehearsal, and we ran it through maybe like 1 or 2 shots of it, and we just I was like, no, it's not working, so cut like half a page, and then everything worked fine.
Awesome. Now, one of the things I really loved about this movie is, while it's a comedy, there's a serious side to this film as well. Like you said, this is almost a film in a sense about people giving up their dream to do something for money. That's a very serious thing to have a look at. How aware of you were that when you sat down to write the script, to put the comedy in there, but to also remember that serious side that so many musicians and so many artists have to go through?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, we all go through it to some degree, and you're doing, living on bare minimum at times and working some jobs just for a paycheck. And then you're like, well, should I go get that corporate job where I can make 100, 150 for several years and save all the money? And it's not going to be, the ideal situation for at least someone like myself, even though I've done that for many years, and it worked out fine. But yeah, it was definitely part of the process of like really just thinking about what it was like to find that balance of trying to be able to create, but also to get paid. And it doesn't always work out that way.
Definitely. Now, you joked before about working with Josh and about blackmail and things like that. But seriously, what's it like working with your brother? Because we've seen some great moments over the years where brothers have worked together in the arts community, and we've also seen some tragic road crashes, like with bands like Oasis and things like that. What was it like working with your brother?
It was so great. We've always grown up like just quoting Simpsons and Seinfeld, and it just felt like that on set as well. It was just super easy, and we've gotten to work together a few times now, and he's so professional, and he's on time, and he does the lines you want, and then he also brings ideas to the character and to make jokes funnier, and it's super smooth. Every now and then he would like whisper in my ear, hey, don't cut, I got a couple ideas, and he would like just bring some fun ideas to the table, and it just, he gets along with everyone, and everyone loves him, and he's just a hard-working, good guy.
Awesome. Now, of course, this is about to come out right around the world on November 19th. Tell us a little bit about how you feel now that your film's about to get released out to a wider audience.
It's going to be exciting, it never, really got its chance years ago when it first got made. There were some glitches and whatnot, and so it's really going to get a chance for people to see it. And I think people are going to, I don't know, people need to laugh. The world's crazy right now, and I think a few laughs, a really great soundtrack, some good performers, and a sweet story. And I think if it can catch a little steam, I think people are going to like it.
Definitely. I can definitely see this being a classic. And to finish off, Mark, what would you like to say to everybody out there before they sit down to watch this beautiful film for the first time?
I would say get ready to enjoy a wonderful soundtrack. And as in the movie, when our mysterious character Richie offers each of our heroes a magical joint, maybe have a magical joint to go with it. Couldn't hurt.
Definitely.